A trailblazer can be long and difficult, especially when breaking color barriers. But as one longtime jockey and horse trainer in Louisiana is finding out, a decades-long reputation can be destroyed almost overnight.
And as investigative reporter Mike Pearlstein explains in this exclusive story, regaining that reputation can go beyond being difficult and expensive. It can become a soul-crushing battle to save a legacy.
Growing up on a farm just outside of Opelousas, Thomas Sam fell in love with animals, especially horses. Once he got old enough to ride the mules and ponies, a neighbor showed him how to ride a quarter horse. The speed was not only intoxicating, it launched a 60-year career, with Sam and his family breaking the horse racing color barrier at a few stops along the way. Starting with bush tracks near Lafayette and working his way up to thoroughbred races at Delta and Evangeline Downs, Sam enjoyed a long run of success.
He's one of the few black jockeys that started down in that area. So he had to overcome that, and he did.
Victories kept coming after he became a trainer in 2001, with nearly 300 winners and career purse winnings over $6 million.
Always in the ratings, won many stake races and everything.
Yes, I did pretty good. I mean, we enjoyed it, you know, had a good life for a while.
Sam's legacy came to a screeching stop in September 2019. I Promised You Huff, a gelding trained by Sam and owned by his son Keith, was spotted in distress at the family's home. The horse was confiscated and taken to a veterinarian, but died days later.
The horse got sick, you know, and he was sick, and that's what happened.
But after photos of the horse were posted on a national horse racing website, they went viral. Sam and his son were accused of starving the horse. Almost immediately, a complaint was lodged, and both were suspended by the racing stewards at Delta Downs. The suspension includes nearby Evangeline Downs, which has the same owner.
It was one of the most embarrassing moments.
A deeper look at the situation reveals another side of the story. 4 other horses on the property were healthy, indicating they had plenty of food and water. Sam and his son weren't around at the time. They were at a meet racing horses. Sam's wife, Andrea, who was at home, was given a misdemeanor summons for animal cruelty. But that charge was later diverted, then dismissed.
With all that greenery and grass and trees around, that horse is something else wrong if he just don't want to eat.
At the steward's hearing for Thomas Sam, the report of a veterinarian revealed that the horse had a high white blood cell count, indicating an infection. One of Sam's attorneys, former New Orleans criminal clerk of court Arthur Morrell, said the family tried supplements recommended by the vet. Here's a recording of Morrell at the hearing.
There's nothing intentional by the Sams to hurt the horse. They did exactly what the vet said he would do.
One of the stewards even vouched for Sam.
If someone came to me and told me that they would starve a horse to death, I'd tell them I don't believe it.
But in the end, the 3-steward panel ruled against them, writing that Thomas and Keith Sam, quote, failed to provide proper veterinary care. Sam immediately appealed to the State Racing Commission.
As found in the rules of racing, as also found in state law, Mr. Sam has to be given a hearing within 10 days.
Those 10 days have now stretched into more than 3 years, and despite regular requests from his attorneys, Sam still has not been granted a hearing. I reached out to the commission, which is based here at this New Orleans office. They declined comment, citing ongoing litigation. That litigation includes this 2020 lawsuit for damages. The lawsuit is pending, but it was cited by Commission Attorney Brett Bonin as the roadblock to the Sams getting a hearing. When Sam's attorneys tried to break the stalemate through a separate mandamus, a lawsuit seeking to get officials to carry out their duties, New Orleans Civil Court Judge Robin Geruso appeared sympathetic. In this transcript of the October hearing, Geruso is quoted from the bench saying, "Do I have a problem with y'all not having a hearing? I think you probably have figured out that I have, that due process is pretty important to me, and it seems like it would be a lot easier to have this hearing." But in her next breath, Geruso rules against Sam, citing the, quote, underlying case, meaning the pending lawsuit.
And all he's doing is trying to fight for his rights, something that they've granted just about every trainer.
Racing officials point out that the horses trained by Sam are still allowed to run at Louisiana tracks, but Sam's livelihood depends on his ability to keep these horses at his home track of Delta Downs rather than paying out of his pocket for a private barn. The track ordered him to remove his horses despite a veterinary inspection showing that all of the other horses were healthy.
The track had their vet go check his horses. They were all in good flesh. They told him to get them off the track anyway.
With his legal case in limbo, Sam's 60-year history-making career is in tatters. His livelihood has dwindled to a handful of horses of owners willing to stick with him despite the added costs.
Normally he'd have around 20, 25 horses. Now he may have 7. You can't live off of that.
Morrell wonders if Sam is being treated differently because of his race.
My opinion is they're treating him differently because of his color. He's black, and he's been successful, and they want to keep him down.
Sure look funny, you know, I mean, I get treated different than anybody else.
Toughest of all is the emotional toll on Sam and his family.
I'm not half the man my father is, and they ruled him. I feel I ruled him by owning a horse.
At age 71, Sam questions how long he can hang on.
Look like they're waiting for me to die. They don't want to see me. I don't know why.
For now, waiting and training his dwindling stable of horses is all Thomas Sam can do. Mike Pearlstein, Eyewitness News.
A formal appeal by the Sams is now awaiting a ruling from the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. Meanwhile, Arthur Morrell recently wrote an informal appeal directly to Governor Edwards, asking him to intervene and stating, quote, "Many minorities believe the vestige of racial bias still exists in this state."